All right, you guys, Betsy here again, and we're going to solve some more inequalities. Things to remember. If you multiply or divide both sides of your inequality by a negative, you've got to switch your inequality, which means if it was less than, it becomes greater than. Other than that, it's pretty much like solving an equation. Just make sure you keep bringing everything right down underneath. So let's get started. So I have -4 times the quantity x minus 5 plus 3x is less than 16. We've got a lot going on the left side, so let's simplify that. I'm going to distribute this -4 through. -4 times x is a negative times a positive, which is a negative. 4 times x is 4x. A negative times a negative is a positive. 4 times 5 is 20. Plus 3x is less than 16. So we use the distributive property. Again, I always like to start with the signs and get the sign written down first. A negative times a positive, a negative times a negative. Then I don't have to deal with the signs anymore. Now, let's combine like terms if there are any. When I look at this one, I've got a -4x. You see how I circle the sign with the number and letter, and a positive 3x. Well, the 4 is bigger, it's negative, so that's going to give me a negative. 4 take away 3 is 1, so -1x plus 20 is less than 16. I just keep bringing everything right down. Now, our goal is to solve for x. If you want to, you can go through and change all your signs now so that your x is positive if you'd like. But if you do that, you got to change your inequality. Let's just do that. Let's just do that, just for the heck of it. So I don't like to have a negative x, so I'm going to change all my signs. It's like multiplying through or dividing through by -1. So that gives me x minus 20. I'm multiplying through by negative, so I got to switch the inequality. And then this becomes -16. So it's like multiplying the whole thing by a -1. And if I do it to both sides, I got to switch the inequality. Now, I got a positive x there. That's what I want to end up with. So I'm going to box that out. What's outside of the box has to go to the other side of the inequality. I've got a -20 sitting here. It's got to go. How are we going to do that? We're going to add 20 to both sides. You've got to stay balanced. Now, these cancel. I'm going to bring down my x. I'm going to bring down my inequality. -16 and a positive 20. The 20 is bigger, it's positive, so it's going to be positive. 12 take away 16 is 4. So I get x is greater than 4. Now we got to graph that. So I'm going to put a 0 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Put some tick marks on this side just for the heck of it. And let's graph it. X is greater than 4. Remember, if it's greater than or less than, it's an open dot. If it's greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, then it's a closed dot. So greater than 4, are we including 4 as our answer? Well, if it's greater than 4, we're not. So we're going to put an open circle on there. I'm graphing x, so make sure you put your x on the outside. And look, our variable is on the left side. If the variable is on the left side, whichever way your inequality is pointing, that's the way you're going to shade. So we're going to shade to the right. So x is greater than 4 means anything greater than 4, 4.1, will work in that inequality and keep it positive and true. All right? Or keep it true. I don't know why I said positive, but keep it true. So if I put 1 million in for x, it will work in that inequality. Your inequality would be true. All right, let's take a look at the next one. Ooh, we got a lot going on here. So let's start by distributing through. So I got 5 times x is 5x. A positive times a positive is a positive. And 5 times 2 is 10. 10. Now, I've got it's like a -1 here, if that helps. When there's a negative there, you got to distribute the negative all the way through. A negative times a positive 3x is a negative 3x. A negative times a positive 2 is a negative 2. Less than or equal, or greater than or equal to. Now I got to take this 4 times each one. We got to distribute it right through. A positive times a positive is a positive. 4 times x, 4x. A positive times a negative is a negative. 4 times 1 is 4. And then we got this lonely 8 sitting out here on by itself. I did not multiply the 4 and the 8 because the 4 is only times what's in parentheses. We got to be careful of that. So we got a lot still going on both sides. We got a lot of terms here. So let's simplify the sides. See if we can combine like terms. Well, I've got 5x's and negative 3x's. If I combine those, I get 2x's. I got a positive 10 and a minus 2. If I combine those, I get a positive 8. Less than or equal to. Then on this side, I got a 4x. And then I got a negative 4 and a positive 8, which gives me positive 4. Now, let's get our x's on the same side. Again, I like my x's to be on the left side. So I'm going to bring them all to the left side. So positive 4x, to move it over, I'm going to subtract 4x. Whatever I do to one side, I'm going to do to the other. So now I get negative 2x plus 8 is greater than or equal to 4. All my x's are together. I'll box them off. And now I got to move what's outside that box to the other side. So what am I moving? I'm moving that positive 8 by subtracting 8. Subtract 8. When I do that, these are gone, and I get negative 2x is greater than or equal to 4 take away 8 is negative 4. Now, I don't want negative 2x is less than negative 4. So, what am I going to do? They're timesing by negative 2, so we're going to divide by negative 2. And when I do these are gone, and I get x. But I divided by a negative, so I need to switch the inequality. A negative 4 divided by negative 2 is 2, and we're done. So we get x is less than or equal to 2. Does that mean 2 is part of the solution? I think so. I know so. Because it means x is less than or equal to 2. That's how you read that. So let's go ahead and graph it. We're graphing x. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's some negative numbers in there, and so on. All right. We are graphing x is less than or equal to negative 2. When I look at this, the x is on the left side, so we shade the way it's pointing. It's 2, so I'm going to close the 2 there because it's less than or equal to, and I'm going to follow the inequality and shade this way. Boom. And what does that answer mean? Anything 2 or less that you put in that inequality for x will make that inequality true. If you put in 3, it will not work. It will not be true. And you're putting the values in for x. So they're telling you anything less than or equal to 2 that you put in for x will keep that inequality positive. Or I don't know why I keep saying positive. True. All right. We get it? All right. Maybe it's time to have some more chocolate. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I'd be happy to answer them. And I'd be very grateful if you subscribe. Have an awesome day.